All right, good morning, the viewer of Voice Television. Today is the 20th of the month of November, and it's a Thursday morning. I want to take this opportunity to welcome you on board from wherever you're watching us from. I want to say thank you so much for always being part of the West Nile TV. And in case you're watching us via satellite, that is on channel 477 on StarTimes, thank you so much. On Zuku, we're on channel 0073, and Azam 369 is the channel number. I want to thank you so much for whoever is watching us this morning. Meanwhile, for those of you who are just joining us on social media, it's still a good morning to you. And in case you are watching us on YouTube, feel free to drop your comments in there. Facebook as well, you can keep the comments coming through in there, and I will be going through that later on. But first things first, I want to welcome you on board in a special way from wherever you're watching us from. I want to say thank you and for being part of the biggest program that is in the nation, that is the KOKOLIRIKO live show, where we let you know of things that continue to happen in and around the world. And of course, I will be delving into some discussion in relation to the arrest of Kizza Besigye. And yesterday, remember, he was paraded before the military court, and I will be letting you know in that discussion. You can be also able to share your thoughts and opinions in relation to what we shall be discussing in relation to the arrest of the retired army man who was picked from Kenya by security operatives. And that is exactly what we did see, and I will be sharing also really in relation to that matter in there. But you can also really as well be part of the discussions, and you will be in position to therefore share your own thoughts and also really what you think could have also happened as far as the arrest of retired Colonel Kizza Besigye is concerned in there. Remember, so many issues have already been said about this, and I was able to see the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs asking the members of the public to allow court to do its work. That discussion will be coming in later on, and I will be therefore solely touching on that discussion as far as the matter is concerned. And that is exactly what we did see, and Besigye also really did come out to reveal last moments in Nairobi. Remember, he was picked on his way as he was going to one of the hotels, and this is following also the arrest recently of a number of suspects also already alleged to be in this group, that's the Katonga faction, who were as well picked. That is from the same place in Kenya, but this time around, what does that speak of Kenya as also a nation where those who are fleeing their countries, most especially those political leaders who are also fleeing their countries concerned, because it's not the very first time we are seeing leaders from other parts of the nation, also other nations also being arrested in there, because recently we did see one from South Sudan. At one time we had the Rwandan national who was as well picked in there. At one time Turkish, that means Kenya is also really describing itself as a no-go zone for those fleeing political persecution. Could that be the case? Will that be a reason as to why we are saying that should we justify that this is now Kenya that is known for not allowing those who are also leaving their countries for political reasons in there? But that is exactly what we did see. Remember what we did see yesterday. So many issues have as well been said about it, but I will be touching that discussion later on. But first things first, before I come back to that discussion, yesterday we also had training for border riders in the Arua city that did take place at Arua Public Primary School hall. And that is exactly what we did see yesterday, where over 100 border riders from this city we are trained on safety and personal hygiene. This is quite true and exactly what happened yesterday, where the training conducted by Mungu Foundation aims at improving on safety and personal hygiene amongst the riders in the rural city. That is also where we did see a total of 100 persons were trained under this campaign of safety that's on the road in there. That is exactly what we want to see, and it is really something which I want to say is timely, because we are now getting closer to the festive season, and usually we know what the festive season is all about. We have had cases of accidents over the years where many deaths are as well registered. But this time around with the training, I expect the border riders, who in most cases believed to be the causes of these road accidents, this time around are going to be empowered. And the 100 also were picked from the different stages. These are actually stage masters or stage leaders, whom I can be able to describe them as that way, who have been trained, and they were awarded with certificates and also jackets. That's also the reflector jackets that they will be wearing also after successfully undergoing the training. And this time around, we hope that those who got the trainings should also describe themselves in difference by also really exhibiting what the training also entails, because Mungu Foundation is now hopeful that this training is going to be reducing on the rate of accidents, most especially to the period where we are getting to, that is the festive season. And today we are just counting down 9 days to wind up with this month. That means we are going to be entering yet another month, that is of December, where we're not even sure of what is happening. But exactly what we know over the years is that this period has always been associated with a lot of accidents. Yes, quite true, all over the country. Many cases are being registered over the years during the festive season, and we actually getting close to that period, coupled with also the associated challenges. And right now the children are for holidays, most especially those who completed Senior 4, P7 and Senior 6, and they're with us, and that is where as parents we should be able to sort of talk to them about unnecessary movements, and they must be busy in other activities other than also loitering and moving on the streets in there, which may also subject them to accidents, and that would be quite well in there. And in relation to personal hygiene, one thing I wouldn't want to talk about is that sometimes the boda rider just wake up like that without bathing, without also organizing themselves. They just jump out to start working, and that is why some customers end up also complaining in there. But now with the training, which I want to say is timely, this is going to be history, and the boda riders in the rural city actually pledged and committed to uphold what they got from the training, and which is really something which I want to say is quite commendable. And we must therefore commend them for the good gesture, and we hope at the right time they are doing the right things, and that is what exactly we shall be expecting out of those, most especially those who underwent the training conducted by Mungu Feni Foundation also in there. And that is exactly what we did see, where also really a number of leaders came out to also ask the boda riders to be vigilant. And if you look at the deputy RCC for, that is assistant RCC for Ivory Division, Ongom Poli, who was the chief guest at the passing out ceremony of these boda riders who completed 3 days training that started the day before yesterday, and also had the day training yesterday and finalized with the training yesterday. He actually cautioned them on vigilance as we are getting closer to this period. Many of times within this period, some ill-intentioned persons may come out and claim they are passengers, yet just because they are targeting the motorcycles. And that is what exactly the boda riders also were cautioned against, that they should be mindful of what passenger they are going to be carrying, most especially those who work at night. And then if you look at that in a rural city, today we have a group that is quite organized, known as the TNS, who are all over. And these boda riders are really doing a commendable job. If you move at night today, you move freely without any fears, because you know that you are going to be encountering a boda rider attached, that is to the TNS group that work at night. For them, they work at night. These are doing a criminal job, but the risk they also likely to encounter is that there are some ill-intentioned persons within the society who may wish to also take advantage of them, and that is why it may become very much difficult for them. But we hope with the training that they did get yesterday, implementation is what we are waiting to see. Because if you look at the boda riders, this is the biggest or the leading employment industry, most especially for the youth. Most youths are employed today as bodas, and that is why the industry is also really one that is crucial. And boda is the most used means of transport in this country. And today, if you look at the bodas, you will realize that a lot of categories are in here. The tricycles, the tukutukus are all part of the bodas. The raksas are all part of the bodas. Then those who use the 2 motorcycles, the bajaj mostly, these are all part of the bodas. And that tells us of how huge this industry is, because somebody out there may be thinking the bodas are just those with motorcycles, those who are using also what we call the motorcycles. And that is exactly what many people also know about the bodas, but I can assure you the tricycles are as well part of the boda industry, and that tells us of how huge and how big the industry is when it comes to its also really employment, also opportunities. And that is where today many young people are employed in there. But we hope as we are getting closer to the festive season, they must take the initiative of the training very much crucial, and therefore they must also engage in what we call active behavior. For instance, also on personal hygiene, where before you wake up and also start moving on the road, you must wake up and bathe first, and you must organize yourself, you must dress smartly. And that is how, at the end of the day, customers are going to be also sitting on you in there without any challenges. And that is exactly what we are pushing out for. And to the boda riders who got this training, the call is always, do not keep it to yourself alone. Continue propagating this information to the rest of your colleagues, most especially those who never had the opportunities, because the 100 were only stage masters and some leaders who were selected. Not everyone had the opportunity of attending this training. What about the rest who did not have an opportunity of attending this training. That means you are the ambassadors as per now. As Mungu Friend Foundation comes to the rescue, and I was able to also see the OC Traffic Arua City Sekaja also coming out, Abdulatif also coming up on board to also ask the leadership of Arua City Border Association to also create for them a chance and a platform so that he can also on personal basis interface with the border riders, because if you look at the way we use our roads, most of the time the border riders are actually misusing the roads. But one observation and one thing I hate about the industry today is that every time you're walking, nowadays, I don't know, there's a tendency of also the border riders, but I will talk about that later on. For now, let me take a short commercial break. When I get back, I will be continuing with the discussions from there. My name is Farish Majid. Stay tuned.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Unwrap your holiday cheers with StarTimes this Christmas season. Starting the 15th of November, simply pay your monthly subscription for the next bouquet and automatically enjoy content on the next higher bouquet, plus a chance to win exciting prizes. Your gift box contains variety of local entertainment and fresh shows, exciting cartoon and fun kids entertainment, mega superstars, local and international, a memorable trip to Spain to watch a La Liga match. And that's not all. Lots of prizes to be won, including ZTE Nubia smartphones with free 15 GB Airtel data. StarTimes gift that keeps on giving. Merry Christmas. This message is powered by ZTE Nubia. Better for all.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from the short commercial break. We are back into the second half of today's show, and this is still the KOKOLIRIKO live show on West Nile TV. Of course, we are still within our first hour of the show, and we are going to be doing this with you up to 9 o'clock. In case you are just joining us for the very first time, you are most welcome aboard. This show comes your ways every Mondays to Fridays, right from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. With me, Farish Majid, where we discuss pertinent issues affecting your society and those also that continue to make rounds in the world of politics, as well as on what is happening in the world of corridors of current affairs. And really, if you talk about what is happening in the world of current affairs, you realize that the talk of the nation for the last 2 days or 3 days has been in the relation to the arrest of Colonel retired Kizza Besigye, who was picked from Kenya, and yesterday he was paraded before the military court in there. And that is exactly what we did see happening, but many personally did not know of what could have happened. But really, I can assure you, he was picked from Kenya and brought to Uganda, and therefore yesterday was paraded before the military court. That is also something we did see happening. Many people were wondering why this could have happened and what reason also the government has. But I want to assure you that this is also in relation to what we did see. And if you really look at what's happening in there, military court also kept, that is Dr. Kizza Besigye in Luzira, is the story we are seeing on the Nile Post this morning, where the General Court Martial has remanded opposition figure, that is Kizza Besigye, to Luzira prison, following the controversial charges brought against him before the military court. And that is the story that we're seeing, where Dr. Besigye was arraigned before the Machindi Best Court, presided over by Brigadier General Freeman Robert Mugabe, shortly after 1 p.m. and charged with endangering the security of Uganda Post Defense Forces, contrary to the UPDF Act. And remember, he is also a former UPDF soldier, and according to Besigye's wife, Winnie Byanyima, the 4-time presidential candidate, was picked from Nairobi, and that is where he was also attending the launch of Kenyan opposition figure Martha Karua's book launch. However, his detention also only came to the light, that is late Tuesday evening, prompting a flurry of activities by Ugandan security forces, including a press briefing by the defense and military spokesperson, which flopped as the court proceedings did take place in there. But that leaves me with one question. How can authorities, most especially the soldiers of Uganda, go and pick somebody from Kenya? This leaves me with a question. This is the question I'm asking myself. What could have happened in between here, and what does that exactly speak of Kenya's authorities? And that is when it comes to solid governance. Because if somebody moves to Kenya, we expect the Kenyan government to protect, not to also already engage in such activities. Now the General Mugabe-led military court had that Dr. Kizza Besigye, his friend, that is Obeid Lutale, and others still at large, between October 2023 and November 2024, allegedly held meetings in Geneva, that is in Switzerland, Athens, that is Greece, and Nairobi in Kenya, aimed at soliciting, that is logistical support and identifying military targets in Uganda with intent to prejudice the security of the defense forces, and that is why they were arrested as far as that matter is concerned. But that is exactly what we need to also ask you as the viewer on. You can keep your comments coming through on what also the government did come out to say through the military-led also the court in there. Now the military court also alleged that on November 16th of this year, Dr. Kizza Besigye and his close friend, that is Obeid Lutale, while at Riverside Apartments in Nairobi, were found in unlawful possession of 2 pistols. That is a model of 27 KAL, number that is 765, and HB 1014, that is 1953, which are ordinarily the monopoly of defense force. But that leaves me with one question. How did they enter the Kenyan borders with this, if at all the Kenyan authorities were in the know, and if at all it's illegal? And how did they pass from Ugandan borders with all this? And that is where we also really expect government to come out to sort of explain some of these issues, most especially to the ordinary person. Because if government is not explaining this, then that is going to be quite difficult. But that leaves me with one question. What do you think about these accusations and these allegations? I want to treat them as allegations because the final verdict on this matter has not been made. It is still a matter that is under investigations. And really, what do you think about it? What do you think could have gone wrong as far as this matter is concerned? But Dr. Kizza Besigye's lawyers, Elias Lukwago, argued that the court martial lacked jurisdiction to try Dr. Besigye for offenses allegedly committed outside Uganda, and therefore that is also really happening outside the law in there. Now General Freeman Mugabe, after listening to Mr. Lukwago's legal arguments, adjourned the military court proceedings to December 2nd. And Dr. Kizza Besigye's arrest in Nairobi comes months after 36 activists belonging to the Katonga faction were also picked, that is also from Kisumu in Kenya, and later transferred to Uganda, where violations of their rights were actually registered. And some of these groups were able to narrate the ordeal of what we are subjected to while in Nairobi, which were a bit painful. And you realize that solely freedom of expression sometimes is really very much difficult, and freedom to associate with any also group sometimes becomes also a challenge, and that would also make many people scared in terms of wanting to join some of those groups in there. Now the group also was recently granted bail after being charged with treason-related offenses, And sources close to the retired Army Colonel and also President Museveni's personal doctor, who was also during the NRA struggle in the Luero jungles, indicated that he was in Uganda days before his trip to Nairobi. And that is exactly what we did see also happening there. But what could have happened? What could have gone wrong? That also happens. Also, that also leaves many people also with questions on what could have really gone wrong as far as this matter is concerned. But we are keenly following up on this discussion, and we shall also come up to also tell you what exactly could come out of the court also in there, whether he will be granted bail on December 2nd, which is not very far from now. That means we are still going to be following up, because for now he is behind bars in Luzira. That's on remand, but we are still waiting for the final verdict of the court that will be coming out hopefully by December 2nd, and that will also tell us whether he will be granted bail or whether he will be still sent back. And that is exactly what we shall be seeing happening in there. Remember, he was arraigned, that is before the court, that is also yesterday, where many people already expressed their issues, and many others were able to already share their thoughts. And by exactly 1 p.m. he was paraded before the court, that is the military also court in Machindi, in company of his also that's colleague, that's Obed Utale, who is also known as a close friend. Remember, the two have been arrested from Kenya, and we are still following up and want to see how, of course, the military will be also ending with this matter in here. And that is exactly what we are keenly following up on. Remember, he is a former military officer, a retired colonel at that rank, and that means he is also really going to be tried by that. But the minister, Norbert Mao, came out to also ask the members of the public, allow court to do its work. That is exactly the message he was able to sort of extend to the members of the public. We are keenly following up and want to see how, of course, this will be ending at the right time, where we shall be seeing this also end. But we did see also the opposition groups standing in solidarity with also their fella, and I was able to see Principal Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu of National Unity Platform Party, also known as Bobby Wine, asking government to release, that is Colonel retired Kiza Besje, from incarceration in there, and he also asked this to happen urgently and demanded for the release of Kiza Besje in there. And that is exactly what we are talking about, the solidarity that comes with the opposition. And over time, we have seen them standing together. And this time around, we have also seen them standing together. And we hope, come 2026, the opposition will therefore solely reunite and put up a force that will be also really against also really one person. If at all we have seen that happening, but over years we have seen that failing. Could it be now that we are going to be seeing this happening? I definitely think no, and I don't hope that this, of course, will be actualizing in the 2026 general elections, where we are just counting about 13 months now. But the question that remains is that, how ready are we for all that period? Many of the times we have seen people suddenly becoming very, very much aggressive. And today you will have most of those who are eyeing those different positions are on ground, moving, campaigning, and also trying to bring their people to order, and also really ask them to sort vote for them by convincing them through various ways. But we hope at the right time this will be also really actualizing in there. And leaving that discussion aside, and yesterday also really for those who love entertainment, you realize sorry, a lot of issues going to happen, where we are able to see one of the musicians in the names of Alien Skin, who was arrested also for murder and assault. That was at a Zambia hospital, where police are now searching for dancehall artist. That is Patrick Murwana, also known as Alien Skin's associates, following assault of staff. That is at Zambia hospital. That happened on Tuesday this week. Now, 2 security guards and other medical staff at the hospital were hospitalized after being injured in the assault, which also is believed to involve individuals linked to Alien Skin and his group of, that is Fun Gone Forest Entertainment. And this is also what we are seeing happening in there. But we hope at the right time that this, of course, will not be able to happen in there. But we hope at the right time this, of course, will be happening. And really that is where I want to also tell you that many of these issues continue to happen. And on Wednesday, the deputy spokesperson for Kampala Metropolitan Police, Luke Owes Jire, confirmed that they are investigating the incidents and are likely to and are actively pursuing those who are involved also in this activity in there. And we hope at the right time this, of course, will be also ending. And the video clip circulating on social media shows that the group exchanging heated words and also appeared to physically confront some of the staff members, even ordering one to sit. And I was able to see one of those also persons who was injured in this activity also really being also really paraded on social media. And this is one of the doctors. And now the individual who has been identified as Joram Tumwesje reportedly lost his life, that is in an accident near the Fangon headquarters in Machindi. And the victims of the attack included Dr. Zaid Matovu, and 2 security guards, Anthony Muyanda and Alex Odongo, all of whom employees of the hospital. Now, in a video shared on X, formerly known as Twitter, one of the victims also recounted being assaulted while trying to call for help, and that is exactly what we did see. And now the incident has, of course, sparked outrage among some Ugandans, particularly on social media, where many have demanded the arrest of Alien and his associate also in connection with the event. Now, in the recent months, the City Danger hitmaker has been embroiled in series of controversies involving his gang attacks, and that's all the critics also have also come out to also condemn this act in there. Because if you really look at what's happening within the entertainment industry, many of the times you have had issues with some of these groups, most especially Alien Skin of late, where his group, that is of the Fangon, has been also in attacks of fellow musicians first of all and members of the public, and I was able to see at one time also him attacking one of the groups. But of course, more of the discussion will be coming through, that is on the Chuku Chuku with DJ Mosh, Lizani, and also the crew that will be coming through. MC Sarge, not forgetting the crew, the other members who will be here also to let you know of more of the discussions in relation to what could have happened in the entertainment industry in there. Because if you look at what happened, many of the times they will be giving a detailed and comprehensive analysis, of course, of what continues to make round in there. But I really want to assure you that yesterday he was paraded, and I love a cartoon that also came out of him being welcomed, that is also to prison, by one of the guards who was actually singing his song City of Danger. And this time round, should we say indeed he is not fearing danger? That discussion also will be coming through, of course, that is on the Chukuchuk from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. with also the team in there that will be giving you that comprehensive and detailed analysis of what continues to make round in there. And that is where we are going to pause with that discussion in relation to also some of those stories that continue to make rounds also in the world in there. And so many issues going to happen as well. I will be touching on them as we get move on, and that is exactly what we shall be also really talking about later on. And really looking at some of the stories that also we are seeing on the paper this morning. And remember, we also are touching across all social media platforms where we want to also really see where, of course, you are also really looking at us and also what you must also really be able to know in there. Now, leaving that discussion aside, URA seizes funds worth over 200 million at Entebbe International Airport. And that is also some sad story, maybe the business community who are also really into illegal entry of these goods. Now, security authorities and customs officers working under Uganda Revenue Authority have seized mobile phones worth over 200 million Ugandan shillings. That is also really in a major crackdown targeting apparent smugglers, and that is according to information we did also receive from the body in there. Now, Uganda Revenue Authority staff also says that these officers have learned also in the last couple of weeks through intelligence also led operations, intercepted at least 781 pieces of smartphones and 108 pieces of button phones destined also for the Ugandan market. And this is as per the tax body, which says suspects also attempted to smuggle the phones into the country using what we call devised movie-like concealment methods to escape the URA hook in there. And that is exactly what we did see. And according to URA, other smugglers conspired with airport trolley pushers and cleaners also hoping to slide their mechanized past customs in unspoiled travel bags. And that is exactly what we did see also happening. And now some of the seized phone brands include 258 pieces of assorted Redmi. We have Oppo, we have Sony, we have Xperia, we have Sharp, we have Aquas, smartphones that have been arrested as well in there. Remember, these are actually the phones that are today emerging in the market. Many people are today having these phones because their prices are not actually very much huge. And if you look at phones like Oppo, Sony, Xperia, Redmi, and you many of the people actually today entering also these smartphones in there. And we did see iPhones also being arrested worth 287 pieces. Samsung Galaxy phones we also arrested, both new and used, and 10 pieces of Google Pixel 7 phones. And this is actually the phone also today we are talking about it being commonly in the second-hand, also what we call the second-hand market in there. Many people actually having these phones. And then we have 5 pieces of new Tecno Spark 20 Pro phones and 112 pieces of Infinix phones. 15 pieces, that is of Huawei smartphones, and the rest are button phones, commonly known as the Capesas, which were also really arrested by the URA in the intelligence-led operation. Now URA says now offense management is underway, and highway smuggled items in Entebbe also really are very many. And amid these endless interceptions, URA ranks mobile phones as the highest smuggled item. That is at Entebbe International Airport passenger terminal, and that is exactly what we are seeing. and in Uganda, concealment of funds, which also with the aim of smuggle, also contravenes section 202, where also the penalty is 50% of the value, while failure to also declare the funds to customs contravenes section 45 and 46 of the East African Community Customs Management Act 2004 as amended, and the penalty is handled according to 209 of the East African Community Customs Management Act, that is of 2004, and as amended in there, and that is exactly what we did see. And today, many of these young people, because this business is actually mostly carried by the young people, if you move to Kampala, you realize most of these young people are actually in that business of bringing in second-hand phones also from Uganda. But many of the times, if you interact with them, their challenge has always been taxes. On several occasions, I do interact with them, and they will really tell you that the taxes have gone high. And how can Uganda Revenue Authority and the government also reach out to the rescue of these young people who are trying to look for survival, because I can really assure you many of them are doing pretty well, and they're also being idle, because if at all, we will not allow them to also really work. That is how they're going to be a challenge. They're going to be a difficulty also to the society, and as members of also the youth, mostly who are into this business, I really hope government can also do something when it comes to the taxes that are being paid, because I really feel the taxes are most times very high. That is what also comes out of them, where I was able to interact with one of them recently who actually told me that taxes on the smartphones have gone a bit high. And where does the burden go to? It goes back to the user and goes back to the person who wants to buy these phones, where the prices also may go high. And yet the customers may not be able to understand that phone prices have gone high. And that also goes back to them, and I really hope government of Uganda should be able to do something when it comes to also these issues of the taxes. That could also avoid smuggling, and that is where maybe most of these young people could actually use the right channels of entering with these gadgets into the country, and that is one issue which I feel should be done, and we shall be also talking about discussion later on in there. And woman arrested over killing husband for querying source of 50,000 Ugandan shillings. This is another sad story that we're seeing. This is in Rubirizi district, where police in Rubirizi district in western Uganda have arrested a 29-year-old woman on allegations of murdering her 30-year-old husband, that's in a domestic brawl, as the deceased demanded for an explanation in relation to a 50,000 note the woman also was carrying. And law enforcers also accused the detained peasant woman of killing the 30-year-old local businessman, that's Brian Tuimukie. The deceased also was a resident of Ndaragi village in Kakanju sub-county in the Bushenyi district, while the suspect is a resident of Nyakankezi village, that's in Katanda sub-county in Rubirizi district. But really, is it quite wrong for me as the husband to come and say, woman, I did not give you this money, where did you get it from? Is it a problem? These are issues that we also really need to see, because many of the times this is happening within our society, and on several occasions we have seen these issues coming up in the societies. Recently, I was able to also see a domestic brawl that was of course in one of my areas. The husband was demanding for the woman to tell him where she got the smartphone from, and it ended up in a fight. The marriage almost got broken. So I think really as husbands, we have the right to determine for information, just like the same way as women, you continue demanding where are you from, because most of the times we have had stories of men telling us that the woman was questioning, where have you been last night? What happened? Where were you with which woman? So as you are demanding for that, we also have a right to demand who bought for you that new cloth, who bought for you that new smartphone, who gave this amount of money. Really, it is also the duty of the husbands to always be vigilant and cautious, because if at all I've not given you the money, then you have the right to also answer to me that where you got this money from. And this is exactly what happened, and what also caused challenge in Rubirizi, because the man was demanding to know where the woman got the 50,000 note from, but it ended up taking up his life on a quite sad note in there. And now the woman who also has been arrested has now been paraded. Now the deceased also was arrested to Rugazi Health Center 4 in unconscious also state, but was pronounced dead within an hour following the attack. And remember, this woman ended up also really hitting, maybe using a panga, and that is exactly what we did see happening in there. Very quite sad and also uncalled for. And according to police, the couple was staying in an isolated house around 50 meters from the neighbors, which made it difficult to rescuers to hear the fight in there. Now it's alleged that the suspect met the deceased also 2 years ago, and they lived also together as husband and wife in Bushenyi district, where they produced a girl currently aged 6 months. And now the two relocated, that is to Rubirizi district, in August of this year, where they opened a small business And commenting on the incident, 50-year-old Kichuamba Sub-County local leader Pascal Mwesje has said the deceased also always claimed his wife had other men, leading to domestic brawl also in the homes, and that is exactly what we have been able to see. Under the Ugandan law, murder attracts severe punishments for an offender, including lifetime jail sentence, and that is exactly what we are seeing happening in there, and quite sad. And this is where we feel, please, if you feel the person you are having is cheating on you, why don't you walk away? Quite simple. Just say enough is enough. I'm moving on. It's ending. And that is how, at the end of the day, you are going to be also avoiding troubles and also avoid having problems. And that is really the beauty of having issues with also the relationships. Understand the persons you are into. If at all this is the kind of person who is jumpy and quite ununderstandable, other than engaging in such practices of fights, of injuring each other, or following them up, please just walk away. It's quite simple. Carry your things and tell them, it is high time, I'm moving out from you and I want also the peace. And peace will also just definitely prevail when you do that. And that is exactly what I want to advise whoever is going to a relationship that is not quite understandable. Because many people will be going through such relationships where they don't even understand their spouses, but they still stick on those relationships. Why don't you move away? And I really feel that is how, at the end of the day, you are going to be avoiding problems. Because if at all the relationship starts having doubts, just know it's coming to an end. If at all one of the parties is not able to reform, just know the relationship is coming to an end. And where there's suspicion, that is the end of it all. Because a relationship without trust is never going to go any further. And that is where I expect whoever is watching me this morning, but is going through a relationship that is not also quite understandable, try bring the parties closer to you, make them understand, talk to them, talk to your close friends, let them talk to each other. But if at all the people fail to reform, moving on is the way to go, and that is how at the end of the day you're going to be avoiding trouble before it is too late. And that is really something that happened in Rubirizi, on a quite sad note, where a woman was able to also really murder the husband in there, and we hope at the right time also justice will prevail for this man who was also already arrested, who was already beaten also to death in there. That is exactly what we did see after being also already chopped with a panga, and really that is where we shall be seeing also really that happening in there. Leave that discussion aside, now moving to Agago. SFC soldier sentenced to death, shooting 3 civilians dead, and that is another story we're seeing, where the 5th Division Military Court Martial in Agago District afternoon, also yesterday on Wednesday afternoon, swiftly sentenced a soldier belonging to the Special Forces of the Uganda Post Defense Forces who shot 3 civilians dead in Agago District, that is in the Ngora East village in there. And the Allied Forces, the Allied Special Forces Command, that is known as the SFC soldier Private Boni Ameni, who is aged 32 years, also had been charged on 3 counts of murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, and 1 also count of abduction and absence also from the army without official leave. And on Wednesday, the military court, chaired by Colonel Peter Musherwe, sentenced him following also a 2-day hearing that was held in Ngora East Village in Paimoi Sub-County under Agago District in there. And now, according to UPDF 5th Division spokesperson, that is Edwin Mawanda, the court had that on October 20th of this year. Ameni deserted his post, that is at Pakadong Detach, and went to Ngora East Village in search of his wife, that is Betangom, whom he suspected also of infidelity. And this is still related to what we were talking about earlier on in there. Now, during trial, Ameni pleaded guilty to all charges, citing frustration over his wife's disappearance, with also shilling 16.5 million. He loaned also her to start a business, and that is exactly what we did see. Now the convict claimed that he repeated attempts to seek help from her family and police, but we are unsuccessful, also pushing him to take matters into his own hands. And Prosecutor Lieutenant Nakameya Dwaishwa emphasizes gravity of Ameni's crimes, describing him as an adult of sound mind who committed premeditated acts and devastated families also and communities in there. Now, before the ruling, we did see Defense Counsel, that is also Agabo Darius, had argued that is for leniency, highlighting Ameni's previously clean also record, his role also already of previously as the breadwinner of his 3 children and siblings, and the accused remorseful cooperation during trial. And that is where we did see Colonel David Opero, the deputy commander of the 5th Infantry Division, commended the community for their role in the investigations and reaffirmed the UPDF's commitment to justice and accountability. And now we are seeing the SFC soldier sentenced. This is not the very first time we are seeing this happening. On many occasions over relationship affairs, we have seen soldiers shooting. What can be done to this? And what exactly do you think should be done to this? Because on many times we have seen soldiers doing this, most especially over issues of women. With that, we are taking a short commercial break. When we get back, we are going to be continuing with our discussion, but you can as well keep your comments coming through on the comment section for those of you watching us online. That is on the YouTube and on Facebook. And remember, we are in there on West Nile Television. I will be in position to check through that later on. For now, we take a short commercial break.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Unwrap your holiday cheers with Start Times this Christmas season. Starting the 15th of November, simply pay your monthly subscription for the next bouquet and automatically enjoy content on the next higher bouquet, plus a chance to win exciting prizes. Your gift box contains variety of local entertainment and fresh shows, exciting cartoon and fun kids entertainment, mega superstars, local and international, a memorable trip to Spain to watch a La Liga match. And that's not all. Lots of prizes to be won, including ZTE Nubia smartphones with free 15 GB Airtel data. Start Times gift that keeps on giving. Merry Christmas. This message is powered by ZTE Nubia. Better for all.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
On air. All right, welcome back. We are 4 minutes after 8 o'clock. This is the KOKOLIRIKO live show on West Nile TV channel 477 on Star Times. We are as well there on Azam on channel 369. Not forgetting Zuku. The frequency number is 0073, where you will be in position to watch us each and every mornings, Mondays to Fridays for 24 hours. We are there, and you will be watching West Nile Television depending on what program you want to watch. And today being a Thursday, we are getting closer to the weekend. Remember, of course, as we get closer to the weekend, so many issues going to happen, and really so many people are trying to celebrate the weekend in a one way or the other. But we are saying, please celebrate it with caution. You must be also really very much serious with your life, because if at all you're going to be spending it also in a reckless life, then that is how you will be also really in challenges. That is exactly what we did see happening in there, and we hope at the right time we shall be seeing also that happening in there. And remember, so is going to happen, and I will be also touching them as we get move on. And I will be also asking for you to share your opinions as we get move on. And really look at also some of the story that also cannot happen. We did see KCA halting Hams construction, that's on Jugula drainage channel, after public outrage. And recently, over the weeks, we have been seeing also members of the public complaining as KCA was able to evict one of those vulnerable members. And many people are asking, why did they allow Ham continue with the construction? And yet they go for the vulnerable. And many times we have seen these issues happening where people feel the authorities are going for the less privileged, are going for those who are really doing with small risks, leaving the big guns. And that is where we did see now officials from Kampala Capital City Authority yesterday agreed with also the management of Ham Enterprises to halt the ongoing construction activities that is in Jugula drainage channel, that's in Chivubo, in Kampala, following public uproar. And that is where we did see also the agreement was reached after a guided tour around the drainage channel on Wednesday, where KCA led its acting executive director, Mr. Frank Rusa, and Ham Enterprise by its proprietor, Hamis Chigundu, to also really see and assess the impact of the project in there. Now the tour also followed the Tuesday closed door meeting at KCA, where authorities summoned Mr. Chigundu over allegations of his developments that were ongoing, that had worsened also really the city's flooding also challenges, but also blocked the way that is to the historic Catholic Church at beside Balikundeme Market. And that is exactly what we did see. And the meeting also followed the public uproar after Owino's market vendors' merchandise worth millions of shillings got destroyed by floods that soaked their stalls. Where the floods come from? And many times we have had these issues already happening. And really, you know that many of the vendors also in Owino have over time had challenges of disaster. If it's not fire, then floods. Really, I feel government needs to do something also in terms of protecting these people, because these are vendors who are looking for survival, because if at all they're not doing also that, then many of these people could be jobless. And government will also still miss out on some of those revenues that are got from those people, because the clothes they bring, most especially the second-hand clothes, amidst also the claims and also concern over them, where the president often has talked about second-hand clothes, promoting and calling for citizens to embrace what we call the first hands in there. But this time around, we hope something will be done in terms of protecting also these people who are vulnerable. And during the meeting at KCA, Mr. Chigundu informed the officials that the ongoing constructions were in line with the guidelines that were issued to him by the Confederation of African Football, since also the recently renovated Nachivo Stadium had been selected to aid the 2007 African Cup of Nations competitions, which will be jointly hosted by Kenya and Tanzania in there under the Pamoja bid in there. That is exactly what we did see. But we hope at the right time this discussion also will be. Now he offered to fund the construction of the drainage channel in case of KCA is constrained with the funding, arguing that the construction works need to be finished before KCA officials, also CAF officials, visit to assess the drainages, also the stadium's readiness, starting this December. Now, during yesterday's tour, Mr. Rusa has said the developer will hold the construction until a team of KCA engineers are deployed to assess the projects also and come up with the final report that will guide the next course of action. And that is exactly what we did see happening in there. And after the tour, we did see Chigundu said, I am happy that the new KCA executive director does not also work based on speculation, and they have been also practical they have taken a practical step to come up on ground and also really make sure that the problem is addressed right from the cause in there. Now, your father said that he is ready to ensure that the church goes access it, because literally also the same people also who visit the church are his clients who watch football also in the stadium, and that is exactly what we did see Mr. Ham also talking about. But that is exactly what we are also keenly following up on, and we hope at the right time this construction work, if at all it's for the good, if it's for the good cause or for the good purpose, also it will be going on in there. Meanwhile, if it's for the bad cause, definitely the works will have to be halted, and that is where we shall be seeing also really that discussion also really going on in there. That is where we shall be also put that discussion aside and looking at some of those stories also happening elsewhere. If you really look at what's happening, you will see that in Buikwe, the factory farmers are protesting after a colleague was crushed to death by a sugar mill in there. Now, casual laborers at the GM Sugar Factory in Buikwe district have vowed not to return to work after their colleague, only identified as Ben, was crushed to death by a machine in the sugar mill in there. Now, angry workers who started also protesting on Tuesday We are hard voicing their demands for the workplace safety, citing repeated similar instances in the sugar mill. And really over the years, we know that people who work in factories have often complained about the machines hammering them, and others have had their hands chopped. Really, this is also something which I feel is really very, very much important for government to also really engage themselves. Now the angry workers demanded that is also really for safety at workplace, and according to them, employees of the factory demand government intervention, and further also alleged that the factory directors often sneak bodies of machine-crushed workers and take them to the Ginger Hospital mortuary without enforcement of law officers. And the workers also say they are against unprecedented dismissals of their colleagues already who condemn the brutal working environment at the farm, and that is where if you complain, the exit door is always coming for them, most especially those who work in the factories, and that is a challenge which also really many people have been facing also in different workplaces. But I hope at the right time this also wouldn't also go on. But when contacted for a comment, the GM Sugar Factory General Manager, that is Gajera Paras Ambibishai, has said the issue is being handled by police, and at the time of filing the story, several trucks carrying sugarcane were all packed and appears stranded outside the sugar factory. And the workers also say the strike will continue until the problems affecting them is finally resolved. Now, Sezibua Regional Police spokesperson Helen Butoto told journalists that the police are investigating concerns of the employees, and this is where we expect the working conditions for those who are working in the factories be improved on, because of many times lives are being lost and people's hands are being chopped without necessarily getting also the necessary support, and in most cases also really these people are sent off after such also accidents. And that is where we did see also that happening, and we hope at the right time also we shall be also talking about that as we get move on. And that is where we did see also the ministry also coming up on board to also really talk about Mpox. This is another story that we must also be talk about, because many times Mpox still remains a challenge. And remember, we have been talking about this for quite a long period of time, and we shall always be talking about it, because Mpox is already raging havoc on many of the cities, and today at least 20 districts of the country have confirmed cases of Mpox. Now, we did see also the health ministry coming out to say that condoms won't spare you from contracting Mpox. Remember, this is a disease of contact, and like HIV, where you are still at risk. But this with Mpox is again, it's also really a condom, and if you think you're going to be using protection to also protect yourself from Mpox, and then you're wasting your time. According to Minister of Health, that is Dr. Jane Ruther Cheng, has also warned the public against relying on condoms in the Mpox prevention, saying they are ineffective in protecting people from the also what we call surging viral disease. And this is also really as where we are seeing also government continuing to also sensitize the locals and sensitizing the members of the public also against this. And auditors from the American Centers for Disease Control and Prevention indicate that although condoms can offer some protection for covered body parts, they may not also really prevent all exposures to Mpox, since the rash can also occur on the other parts of the body. And Dr. Cheng highlighted that the virus can also be transmitted through contact with an infected person, also especially when they have the pustules and what we call the push-feel bumps on the body, and that is exactly what we did see. And if you look at Mpox, Mpox is a viral disease characterized by distinct severe sores all over the body, and it was first detected in Uganda in July, and at least one death has been linked to it, and this is also in the country. And this disease is said to have its origin from the DRC. And usually Mpox-related also sores on the skins can show 2 to 4 weeks, affecting one's physical appearance and ability to work. And there are symptoms already that you will have fever, headache, muscle aches, body pain, low energy, and swollen lymph nodes. And that means if at all you are having some of these signs, then you must also be able to rush to the nearest medical facility to have yourself tested also for this. Now, according to scientists, during pregnancy, the virus may as well be transferred onto the new baby bones, and that means you must also really make sure that if you have the disease, you rush to the nearest health facility for treatment other than relying on traditional healers, because many of times we have had issues where people feel the traditional healers can give them the treatment, and we are saying no, you must embrace the medical doctors, most especially the modern doctors. And Mpox is treated with supportive care for symptoms such as pain and fever, with close attention to also nutrition, hydration, skin care, prevention of secondary infection, and treatment of co-infections. including HIV, were present, and the World Health Organization indicates that, and that is where we expect people now to protect themselves from mpox, because mpox keeps on remaining as a challenge in this nation, and that therefore tells us that we must also organize ourselves to be ready to protect ourselves from this disease, because if at all we're not also organizing ourselves from that disease, then that is how it is going to be very, very much dangerous and challenging for us. And we hope at the right time, this also will be also having issues, and that's where we expect government to also really sensitize the locals about also really more about that. And that is where we shall be seeing that. Millimeter discussion aside, over 46,000 people displaced from Elgon Park cry for resettlement is another story we're seeing, where more than 46,000 people were evicted from Mountain Elgon National Park by Uganda Wildlife Authority. In 2008, have also appealed to government to provide them with alternative land for permanent resettlement. And remember, over the 46,000 people who were evicted in 2009 in the Elgon Park land, while also the place was being also really expanded, were also now calling for government to come out their rescue, to also have them resettled elsewhere. Now speaking in a meeting in Soroti, that was on November 19th, the affected Bennett also community members also complained that the eviction by UWA in June 2008 pushed them to live in as squatters, that is at Kisito Settlement Camp. And now Dr. David Mande, one of the affected persons, also said the lack of alternative pieces of land has crippled their economic activities, as they cannot carry out farming and implement other government programs like the Paris Development Model, and that is why they are now asking government to offer them alternative land where they will be in position to sort of settle in there. And that is where we did see, he said that those who settle under the strict rules had been restricted sort of from putting up permanent buildings and exploring extensive methods. And we did see Peter Chebet say they are expected to stay on the temporary settlement for only 6 months pending permanent allocation, but instead have lived there for 16 years now, and that means they are now calling upon government to come up with their rescue. And the National Resistance also Movement chairperson for Kwen District, Mr. Willie Cheslong, has said although the government gave directive to UWA to surrender more than 6,000 hectares of land for resettling also the displaced community, this has not also materialized in there. Mr. Charles Sam Chebet, the chairperson that is for Gaborone sub-county in Kwen District, said the plight that is of also the people in the camps is wanting, as they require also the establishment of health centers. Mr. Lawrence Mugosho, the former MP for Kwen District, said the issue contributed to his defeat in 2021 parliamentary elections, and he said the people who have been also really pushing to reclaim their land or be relocated also really voted him out of parliament because of his unfulfilled government pledges, and that is where they're also asking government to come up to also fulfill some of these promises. And he urged the government to create the resettlement plan for the affected communities so that they can also stop blaming area leaders. Now the Kwen District woman MP, Ms. Rose Emma Cherurut, called upon the government to resettle also the affected communities, saying failure to do so affects them negatively during mobilization. Now Kwen Resident District Commissioner Hope Atwaire said there have been also regular clashes between people, and that's who are settled on the temporary land, and also really officials, leading to death over the years. And that is where we expect this matter to be put, that is to also really halt, and that's where we expect now government to come up to also really help this matter and be addressed once and for all. Meanwhile, Captain Mike Mukuya, the NRM Vice Chairperson for the Eastern Region, who presided over the meeting, said he would arrange a meeting between the leaders of Kwen and the president of this country to discuss the matter, and that is what also really members of public in that area are waiting for. And we hope at the right time also they will be also having justice for this matter as to which they were also evicted in there. And we hope at the right time such matters of evictions not also going to happen in there. And we hope at the right time this person still will be relocated to a land where they will be settled finally in there. Moving on, 7 appoints Dr. Mwebesa to head the Health Service Commission. This is another story which we are seeing this morning, where President 7 has appointed Dr. Henry Mwebesa, the chairperson of the Health Commission, as the chairperson of Health Service Commission, replacing Professor Pius Okong, a senior official at the Health Ministry, and that's what we did see also coming up in India. Dr. Mwebesa has been serving as the Director General of Health Services at the Ministry of Health since 2018, while Professor Okong has served as the chairperson of the Health Service Commission since 2012 in there, and that is where the commission is now also really having also some reshuffles. Now the commission in its mention is responsible for recruiting health public workers. And in November, for the 11th of this year, a letter to Parliament, also the Speaker Anita Mango was signed by also Monitor, which also wrote Museveni in accordance with Article 169, subsection 1 and 2 of the 1995 Constitution. I appointed Dr. Mwebesa as the chairperson of the Health Service Commission. Meanwhile, on Wednesday, Ministry of Health spokesperson Emmanuel Inabiona confirmed the development in which Dr. Christine Kakuru Kamuhangi was also appointed to deputize Dr. Mwebesa, if approved by Parliament in there. Dr. Nathan Mafuru Onyachi, Dr. Mary Namubiru, Dr. Aisu Stephen, Dr. Aisu Peter Stephen. Meanwhile, Thomas Ochua Obua were also appointed members of the commission, and through the Ministry of Health, Dr. Mwebesa has been also central in improving Uganda's health service also system, and with also notable contribution to Uganda's fight against COVID-19. And he was also famed for pushing for improvement in quality of health care in the medical facilities and fighting staff absenteeism, and that is also something which, of course, he will be also really known for. And of course, we hope with all those initiatives, he will be improving on the livelihood of the citizens. On the other hand, the outgoing Health Service Commission boss, Professor Kong, led also strategies of salary enhancement for health workers during his tenure, and that means these are actually two good leaders who have done a good service for the health sector of this country. And the Health Service Commission is a government agency established in 1998 to address unique human rights resources for health workers. And this is where we need the core being also recruitment of qualified and competent human resources for health workers and for efficient and effective health service delivery. And the Health Service Commission derives its mandate from the Article 169 and 179 of the 1995 Constitution as amended, under Cap 56, subsection 3 of the Local Government Act, and Cap 243, and the Health Service Commission Act of 2001, Section 25, subsection 2 in there. Now the Commission is mandated to appoint, confirm, promote, and review the terms and conditions of service, training and qualifications of health workers. It is also mandated to foster professional and work ethics and exercise disciplinary control over health workers under its jurisdiction. And that is why maybe we are seeing some bit of professionalism amongst the health workers, because it is also the body that is a bit regulated. And we hope at the right time also that also discussion will be coming also to make sure that more of those health workers already are the ones who are trained, because recently the IGG was in also tour of Western Sub-region, and Telego district, on a quite sad note, we had also stories of some of the health facilities being run by unqualified personnel that were recruited by the officials from the district as well. And that is really something which I feel is quite embarrassing, and really, if at all, that it also really happened truly in there. And really, that is something which we didn't see happening, and that matter is currently being investigated, and we hope at the right time that discussion will be coming through. And government asks pharma distributors to make drugs local to boost Uganda's economy. And that's what we're seeing this morning, where the health minister, Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng, has challenged the giant drug distributors to consider manufacturing pharmaceutical products local to create more jobs and raise revenue for Uganda. And she made the remarks while speaking during the 25th anniversary of Rain Industries Limited in Kampala on November 19th, where Dr. Chen explained that Uganda needs more industries to minimize expenditure and own imports, and that is exactly what we did see. And available records indicate that Uganda spends over 1.3 trillion every year on importing medical and pharmaceutical products. And the president also, His Excellency, is also greatly encouraged the establishment of bio companies in the country to limit on this. And that is where today, if at all, we also talk about drugs. Most of our drugs are coming from India. That's why you see people moving to pharmacies and they will tell you, I want this medicine that comes from India. Really, I feel as Uganda, it is high time that we also start manufacturing our own drugs. That would also, at the end of the day, help us in terms of limiting access to importation, and that's solely dependence on importation, secondly, and also avoid money that would also be given out in terms of importing these drugs. Meanwhile, Dr. Cheng commended the founders of Rain Industries for progressing from mere pharmaceutical distributors to becoming a manufacturing industry, and she pledged the government's commitment to creating an enabling environment for the private sector through strengthening legislation, investing in infrastructure, and fostering partnership that is also growth-driven. and Rishi Vidoria, who together also with his wife, Dr. Mera Vlodova, founded Ren Industries in 1998 to produce essential medicine, said it is also in the early years were not easy, but the government's initiative also of Buy Uganda, Build Uganda has now created also a market for about 120 of their products, and that means they are doing pretty well. And according to Rishi, Ren currently holds 20% of the pharmaceutical market in Uganda, and it aims to also grow by an average of 15 to 20% yearly. And National Drug Authority Board Chairperson Dr. Medat Bitrekeyos said they are strengthening inspections, that is also of laboratory capacities and also broader checkups to ensure poor quality pharmaceuticals do not also flood the Ugandan market in there. And that is exactly what we are keenly following up on. We want to see how this, of course, will be earning, and to make sure that this also really moves on very, very much well in there. Meanwhile, leaving that discussion aside, still within the monitor, I remember this year we had also the March Parliament, also the protest, where a number of Ugandans were also arrested. Now, court dismissed charges against 3 anti-corruption activists. And today we're seeing where these people also were arrested, and now they are being freed one at a time. Now, City Hall Magistrate Court in Kampala has dismissed the case of alleged involvement in anti-corruption protests against 3 civil society activists. On Wednesday, we used the anti-corruption activists Ruth Nalunkuma, Abigail Kalenda, and Dennis Pato, all affiliated with the Youth Also Focused Civil Society Organization, named the Vijana Corps, also appeared in court for hearing of their case, which also has been given a final adjournment now through their lawyers, that is Paul Washua. The group successfully also asked their case dismissed for also the one also prosecution, and that is exactly what we did see. And the presiding senior Gradon magistrate, that is Edgar Karakire, agreed with the defense also lawyers' submission that also the matter was indeed on its last adjournment today, and it was therefore dismissed in there after also spending days in prison. Now there are dozens of other people still facing charges of common nuisance at Buganda Road, also Chief Magistrate Court, that is following their alleged participation in protest, which also among other things called for a resignation of Parliament. That is Speaker among the demonstrations around Kampala, and some parts of Uganda accused parliamentarians, and among of also corruption leading to the loss of billions of Uganda's taxpayers' money. Allegations which we are denied in there, and that means they are now being freed. And we hope at the right time such issues will not happen in there, where we expect government to also really exhibit some bit of transparency, most especially for those who feel there is no transparency in there. But this matter has been in there, where a number of Ugandans were arrested, but really on a good note, also they were released, also happening also after investigations in there. But that is something which is happening, and we shall be letting you know of more of the discussions as we get move on with the show. Today is a Thursday, in case you're just joining us right now. This is the KOKOLIRIKO live show with me, Farish Material. It comes your ways every Mondays to Fridays, right from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, and today happens to be the second last day of the show for this week, and tomorrow we shall be connecting also with that discussion in there. That is also where we need to also continue with the discussion now, looking at what's happening in Karuma, and security have also trust reports of heads being also cut off for Karuma Bridge ritual, and this is another story which we did see over the time. People have been asking me about that. We had stories of over a number of heads that were actually picked from one of the districts and to be taken for construction of Karuma, and now the Uganda People's Defense Forces and Uganda police have refuted the rumors circulating on a group of also really Tong Tong, and that's also where we did see a group of Tong Tong in northern Uganda who were alleged also beheading people for rituals at Karuma Bridge. And the rumor also gained significant traction. That is on Tuesday, after 6-year-old boy Emmanuel Lara was found dead with deep injuries on his head and inflicted also by an unknown person. And in an emergency also press conference in Guru, the UPDF 4th Infantry Commander Brigadier General Felix Busirozi refuted the claims and rumors and called for calm. And this is where many people have been asking us, we had this happened. We had heads are being chopped off for rituals. Is it true? And that means today now they have the answers. The UPDF has come out to also condemn that nothing of that caliber is happening, and they wouldn't also really want to take this as serious also in there. Now rumors have been circulating across northern Uganda that some unknown individuals were beheading people for ritualistic purposes, with also some claiming that 400 heads were needed for the ongoing construction works of the Karuma. However, also accompanied by the regional police commander, Samuel Asime, the top security officer, dismissed the rumors and called them as false and baseless. And that means this is exactly what you also as the viewer needs to treat as false and baseless, because nothing of that caliber is happening. And really with that, we come to the end of this half where we bounce back. We shall be continuing with some of those stories on the international scene, and I will be summarizing the discussion as always with what's happening in the world of sports. This is the KOKOLIRIKO live show on West Nile TV. With me, Farish Majid, and of course, we are going to be taking yet another short commercial break. When we get back, we shall be continuing with the discussion from there. Stay tuned.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Unwrap your holiday cheers with Start Times this Christmas season. Starting the 15th of November, simply pay your monthly subscription for the next bouquet and automatically enjoy content on the next higher bouquet, plus a chance to win exciting prizes. Your gift box contains variety of local entertainment and fresh shows, exciting cartoon and fun kids entertainment, mega superstars, local and international, a memorable trip to Spain to watch a La Liga match. And that's not all. Lots of prizes to be won, including ZTE Nubia smartphones with free 15 GB Airtel data. Start Times gift that keeps on giving. Merry Christmas. This message is powered by ZTE Nubia. Better for all.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back into the final half of today's discussions. This is the KOKOLIRIKO live show on West Nile TV, channel 477. That is on Star Times, and also we are there on Azam and Zuku as well, and online across all our social media platforms, where you will be in position to watch us each and every Mondays to Fridays, right from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock with me, Farish Majid. And today, when you look at some of the issues, earlier on I was talking to you about the issue of rumors that had been circulating in northern Uganda that some heads are being chopped. That is for rituals also at the ongoing Karuma Bridge. And remember, recently the government also came out and say they will be also really working towards restoring and also really working on the bridge towards also really making sure it's finished within the stipulated period of time. And after that, what we did see was also the public really concerned that also some heads were being chopped for rituals, something which now the police has also come out in partnership with the UPDF to also condemn and also deny and say that is also really a baseless allegation and something which also that didn't also take place in there. And that is exactly what we are going to be seeing and also this discussion aside with. And we hope at the right time that discussion also will be also taking place. And that is where we need to also look at some of the stories happening elsewhere now. And starting it off this half of the hour, we are seeing government also demanding Semakade to apologize for offensive remarks, where he did also describe also really the DPP in a way that was also unsuitable to many. Now the Director for Ethics and Integrity has condemned the remarks also made by Isaac Semakade, the President of Uganda Law Society, labeling them as vulgar and offensive, and Mr. Semakade's controversial statements. The Director of Public Prosecutions, that is Jennifer Sabodo, were repeatedly also really made during a function organized by the People's Front for Freedom, where he described the DPP in a way that I wouldn't also want to mention on an area, but as a lady from one of the areas, I wouldn't also want to talk about that. But in a statement also issued by Rose Lily Akelo, the Minister for State for Ethics and Integrity, the government also really expressed outrage over what they called abhorrent language and that undermines public decency and dignity of women. And that is exactly what we did see. But also the man has come out to also respond about this. And the minister demanded for public apology from Semakade, stating that it was unnecessary to restore respect and uphold national ethical values which emphasize integrity, respect for humanity and moral uprightness. And earlier, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution also issued the statement also demanding apology from Semakade, where also whose troubles have been also heaping since taking over office, vowing to lead this or using abrasive, what we call bang the table manner, and that is exactly what we see also in relation to what he did also come out to talk about. Now the DPP accused him of making vulgar and offensive remarks captured on video, also circulating on social media, describing the comments as grossly inflammatory, unprofessional, and deeply disrespectful, and that is exactly what also this remark was termed to be. Now the DPP want that it reserves the right to also pursue legal action and engage professional bodies to hold Semakade accountable for his conduct. And on Tuesday we did see four members of Mr. Semakade's Law Society Council disowned him and also saying his conduct was not tied to their office, and that is exactly what we did see. Now Mr. Semakade started his tenure also last month by ordering the ex-officials of the Uganda Law Society, the State Attorney General, and the Solicitor General, we are also colonial relics, and that was also discarded in there. Another controversial decision saw him also dragged to court, and that is exactly what we did see also happening in there, and that is what we did see also the DPP also arguing also the Semakade to apologize, or he also has issued intention to sue in there. That is exactly what we did see, and we hope at the right time also really this matter also will be also discussed in there. But I can assure you, the Director for Public Prosecutions, that is also really Jennifer Sabodo, has said they are contemplating taking legal action against the Uganda State President Isaac Semakade over what was termed as continued personal attacks. And Semakade also has on several occasions been quoted and recorded on social media, taking also really attacking the DPP, that's Jennifer Sabodo, on several platforms. And the latest also the incident, Semakade also really, who has been speaking during a symposium organized by the People's Front for Freedom on Monday, made remarks targeting the DPP in what also made many also described as demeaning, and that is exactly what we did see. And now the officer of the DPP has asked Semakade to apologize or he is sued, and that is exactly what we did see happening in there. And we hope at the right time this matter, of course, will be also let also go on in there. That's what we did see. And we hope at the right time also that this matter also will be moving on. And we want to see how, of course, this also will be ending. And still in relation to this man, Semakade, remember he has had many troubles. A city lawyer also withdrawn charges against him. And that is where we did see a city lawyer in the names of Robert Rutaro has withdrawn his case against the Uganda Law Society President, that is Isaac Semakade. And Mr. Rutaro had accused the Uganda Law Society of unlawfully excluding Attorney General and Solicitor General also from the representation of the society, and the High Court of Uganda had granted the withdrawal of the case challenging Executive Order RNB number 1 of 2004 issued by Semakade, and the matter was heard also by Honorable Lady Justice Esther Nambayo at the City Division of the High Court in Kampala. Now the Executive Order issued in October 2004 controversially suspended the Attorney General, Solicitor General from Uganda Society membership, citing concerns about their roles in upholding legal integrity. And the decision also really sparked mixed reactions. leading Rutaro to also really seek legal recourse. However, during the hearing, he opted to withdraw the case, and the court made no orders regarding cost. And the Uganda Law Society also defense team led by Mr. Milton Ochen of advocate also really issue talked about on the same matter in there and welcome the outcome. And that also really speaks a lot. Could we say they feared something somewhere? Definitely, I don't know. But we hope also the matter was withdrawn for the right cause. And the withdrawal of Rutaro's case is seen as a significant moment in the ongoing transformation of Uganda society. And legal experts also suggest that the decision may embolden the Uganda society also leadership to continue to also with its reform. However, it also really cautions similar legal challenges may emerge as the society pushes into uncharted also territory in its efforts to enhance independence and public trust, and that is exactly what we need to see. And as the Uganda society advances its radical new bar initiative, the legal fraternity and broader public will closely monitor its impact that is on the Ugandan legal landscape, and that is exactly what many people are also really following up and want to see how, of course, this will be ending. And that's where we are also going to be putting a discussion aside and leaving that discussion aside as we are just left with about 20 minutes to wind up with today's discussions. Residents of Tororo also railway quarters protest exorbitant rent on dilapidated houses. Another story we are seeing this morning where the residents of Uganda railway quarters in Tororo municipality are protesting against the Uganda Railways Corporation over what they describe as exorbitant rent charges for the deteriorating also housing units. And at a meeting where also with the members of parliament, Apollo Yeri Ofono, the residents voiced their grievances, highlighting the poor living conditions in the aging railway houses. They reported the structures lack basic amenities such as latrines and access to clean water, yet tenants are still required to pay monthly ranging from 80,000 to 100,000 Ugandan shillings. In the Nadi has left many residents in financial distress, with some accumulating arrears totaling to over 6 million. And addressing the gathering, MP Ofono expressed outrage at the Uganda Railway Corporation's continued collection of rent despite the appalling state of the houses. And he directly questioned a URA official present at the meeting to also demand an explanation for charging the rent for condemned structures. And we hope also this matter also will be also ended very well in there, because if at all you are living in the house, no matter how the house is, we expect as the landlord, in this case which is Uganda Railway Corporation, to work on these houses to make sure they are also really very suitable for the people to live in. And that is where we hope also at the end of this day that this also will be also addressed very well in the. Now, Tororo District Chairperson, still relatedly from that side, urges for more cost sharing public hospitals. That is another story where we're seeing the Tororo District Chairperson, Dr. John Okea, has called on government to formalize cost sharing public health services to enhance efficiency, improve service quality, and curb extortion within health facilities. And Okea's remarks come and also amid growing scrutiny of Uganda's public health sector, where citizens also really are questioning the reality of Uganda's pledge to provide free health care. And while free services are promised, Okea also argues that the actual situation often forces patients to buy their medicines due to frequent stakeouts in the hospitals in there. And what we did see now, what we now get in hospitals is just technical services. The real medicines, people are already paying for them because they have no option to, and that is where we did see Okea suggesting that formalizing cost sharing would provide clarity, reduce what we call conflicts, and improve transparency in the health system. And that is exactly what the people of Tororo are voting for. And that is exactly what we did see happening in there. And we're at the right time. This matter also will be dealt with very, very well in there as we get to move on. And we hope at the right time government also will be improving the health sector, where drugs shouldn't be also be paid for, and they must therefore be free of charge at all times. And that is where we shall be seeing that also really ending very well in there. And 4 African presidents to grace first ever regional Ateker Cultural Fete in Teso. And this is a story we're seeing this morning, where the gala will bring together various Ateker speaking communities spanning diverse ethnic groups from Ethiopia, South Sudan, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, and is coming to Uganda for the first time. And there is now excitement as Uganda gears up to host East Africa's premier Ateker cultural event in Soroti later next week, and the Reunion also Festival, which is held also set to be held between November 26th and 29th, also will bring together the Ateker communities that's also across the region to share linguistic and cultural ties with the aim of celebrating and strengthening their bond. And the gala will bring together various Atakere-speaking communities, spanning diverse also ethnic groups from Ethiopia, South Sudan, Uganda, and Tanzania. And Uganda will be hosting this for the very first time. And we hope this also will be moving on very well, because many of the times people have often had challenges in relation to this. But we hope this time around this also will be going on very well. And the event is aimed at promoting culture through various performances, including music, dance, and drama, storytelling, and highlighting the unique cultural expression of the Atakere communities and beyond. And the festival is aimed at exhibiting traditional crafts, attire, and literature, foods, and medicine for the Atakere people, which also envisages also that's also something which we are going to be following up, and we want to see how this, of course, will be ending. And we hope at the right time we shall be seeing also this matter also really more details from that also coming, because we are going to be expecting speeches, we are going to be expecting beautiful display and also of the different cultures, as well as other behavior also happening in there. And we shall be doing that also in the subsequent days, and we shall be informing you of any matter that will be, of course, arising out of there. And as we get to move on with the show, so many issues going to happen, where I will be also really letting you know. And government to introduce digital transformative roadmap for children. Another story which we are seeing this morning, where government has embarked on plans to introduce a digital transformative roadmap for children to create an enabling environment for youngsters to thrive in digital space, and the ICT Ministry has confirmed that. And today, as we are getting to move on in a world that is transforming digitally, Ms. Zawede, the Permanent Secretary for Ministry of ICT, noted that the first evolving technology world necessitates also what we call prioritizing a digital agenda, which also really must start right away from the schools. And according to her, the planned roadmap emphasizes a key 5 areas of focus, and these include enabling environment with right laws, regulations, and also the policies, so that they can be also able to enable and manage transformative journey. And that is exactly what we did see. Now you see Executive Director Nyombi Tembo has said ICT provides children with remarkable opportunities to grow, learn, and thrive amidst also the different challenges of also pornography and misuse social media, where today we are seeing a number of children and youth also landing in trouble. We hope also they use the ICT very, very well in there. Now, speaking at the same event, UNICEF presented to Uganda, Dr. Robin Nandi, called for protection of fundamental rights of youngsters as the world marks 35 years of Convention of the Rights of Children. And he explained that the digital connectivity is one of the areas of the 6 transformations that the United Nations has called for as multiplier effect towards reaching the Sustainable Development Goal of 2030. And remember, the world had put plans of what we call under Sustainable Development Plan, that is also of 2030, to also, among other which to also is to achieve a world that is without poverty. But really, as we're getting closer to 2030, how are we towards that? If you look at the Sustainable Development Goals, which also really, among others, talks about eradicating HIV, how close are we getting to that? Because if you look at 2030, today there are only very few years to that. Are we working within plans? Are we going to be achieving that? That is where with this United Nations resident coordinator in Uganda, Leonard Zulu, urged for equality in observing child rights, and today the children's rights are being violated on several occasions. But we hope at the right time, this, of course, wouldn't also really go on in there. That is, leaving that discussion aside, Mao doubting government 7 transmission plans. Now the Justice and Constitutional Affairs Minister, Norbert Mao, who has been hired to midwife the country's political transition, has also threatened to also trigger a divorce if Israel continues to be curtailed by government red tape and also by corrupt bureaucracies. And speaking metaphorically, also during the justice, law, and order sector that is function presided over in Kampala, that was on November 19. Mao once also vowed also really critique of government, revealed also that his job continues to be undermined by speed dumps, and that is exactly what we did see across the sector of service delivery and enactment of good laws. And he admitted that his role is ready to be descend the political rostrum and serve as the altar as priest. Also perhaps his watershed moment of his journey is Damascus, and that is where he did also really speak in that language that is best understood by those who understand the books of God. That is also really where he also made those remarks in relation to that. And for those who understood the meaning, definitely must have gotten also really what Norbert Mao is saying in there. Now the Democratic Party president, who was appointed the Justice and Constitutional Affairs Minister after signing a cooperation agreement with President Museveni in July 2022, where he also brought the DP together to also work with the NRM government. And in the 42 clause agreements, the National Unity Movement also and DP parties agreed to share political power and protect constitutionalism and the human rights. And his colleagues in the party disapproved of his decision to join the NRM, and many also already accused him of becoming a turncoat for political expediency and personal gain. And looking on to his crystal balls, in March 2022, Minister Mao had earlier prophetically also warned about the fate, and awaited also those who joined NRM also would also work together with him in the. Now this was also Minister Mao's hour of reckoning, and these remarks also come at a time where many people definitely do not know what is also awaiting that bond that was signed in 2022. The agreement also that was signed between the DP and NRM, which up to date has remained to many also already in paper. And that is where we shall be seeing also that happening, and I will be letting you know of more of the discussion happening in there. But when the right time comes, definitely I will also be letting you know of what is happening in there. Leaving that discussion aside, now looking at what's happening international. Russia and US battle for advantage in Ukraine war, all ahead of Trump's return. I remember Donald Trump, upon taking over power for the second time, actually vowed to end the war in Ukraine and also in Palestine. And this is actually where, in his foreign policy, many people have been also agreeing and also praising Donald Trump for that. Now, in a matter of days, US President Joe Biden's administration and Russia have also made separate but significant also strides, a move that aims at influencing the outcome of the war in Ukraine 2 months ahead of Donald Trump's return to the White House. And there is a sense of Moscow maximizing its gains and Biden abandoning the long-held red lines before Trump also really seeks, that is, to deliver on his claim to end the war in 24 hours. Now, Ukraine has also already been acted as Biden's decision to let Kiev also go in there. And today, you read the war in Russia has continued. Many lives have already been lost, and many property has also been as well destroyed. But today, we are still looking for a world that will also be without war. And that leaves also many people with questions. When shall we see the war in in Ukraine end, where Russia is invading Ukraine? When shall this end? Because if you look at all this, the war has continued up to now, but we are seeing that also continuing, and really that is where we feel something should be done. When shall this end? This is where many people have been or maybe wanting to see, but Donald Trump hopefully will be ending this war as he promised also in his inaugural and maiden speech in there. That is where we're going to leave that discussion aside. Now looking at what's happening in the world of sports. Really in the world of sports, I really want to show you so many issues are happening right away from the regional leagues up the 4 big league and international stories. Really a lot more is happening, and really on a quite sad note, you realize solely in Arua City, in the regional league, the football team, that's Arua City Football Club, has actually parted ways with its coach. That is in the press release that we did also see circulating. More details of that will also, of course, will be coming through in the whistle time with Owen Zaga, who will be here also from 2 to 3 p.m. together with Linda Suzy, who will be giving that comprehensive and detailed analysis of what's happening in there. And that is where I feel we must also continue to also look at what's happening elsewhere in the world of our big league. And the 4 big league will be returning on the 24th of this month. But the Uganda Premier League, of course, will be also witnessing games on card today, where we shall be seeing Bull Football Club taking on Express Football Club. Soltilo Bright Stars will be up in action against Maruz Football Club. And yesterday we had a game that was also a goalless draw between, that is Police Football Club and Lugazi Football Club. And that is also what we did see happening in there. And if you look at the table standing as per now, you will see that KCA is still on top of the log. Vipers comes also really in the second place with just a difference of 1 point, sitting comfortably in there with 17 points. Neck Football Club is following there with just a 1 different point. That is also 16 points in there, and that means the first 3 teams only have a difference of 1 point, and that is where we also seeing the stubborn side of last season. Kitara Football Club this season, I don't know what happened to them. They are currently sitting also really on the last log. I really feel very, very much bad for them, but we are still following up on, and the time also really is still there. And we hope at the right time also really this, of course, will be ending very, very much well in there. And the way that we also want to say internationally, so many issues will continue to happen. And in the other world, we are seeing World Cup qualifiers in other nations, where we are seeing the other continents are ready for World Cup qualifiers. And yesterday we also had a game that was between Colombia and Ecuador that also ended by a 0-0. And we did see Argentina and Peru. Argentina was able to win these games, and these are some of the games which I feel you as the viewer also really must be aware of. And these games continue And of course, more details to what's happening in the world of sports will be coming through on the Whistle Time with Owen Ezaga. And after here, we shall be having the Oil News Bulletin that will be ushering us into the Daktari Show. And thereafter, we shall be having other programs following in the due course of the day. Remember, today we shall be having also the Chukuchuku returning. And of course, they will be telling you about the arrest of Alien Skin for those who love entertainment. That will be coming through. That is from 5 to 7 p.m. with DJ Mosh, Liz Honey, and MC Sarge. And currently Hassan is out, but hopefully we hope we will be bouncing back also to let you know of what's happening in the world of entertainment. And Christina Kumuringa from 7 p.m. will be here with the Nilecast News Bulletin. And summarize the day will be with the Kelele Show with Scovia, who will be also here to also give you what's happening within your communities in different languages. With that, I come to the end of the show for today. I will be bouncing back tomorrow. Remember, many people are waiting for the weekend to come. On Thursdays, many workers are waiting for Friday to come because others want to celebrate because weekends are always for happiness. With that, I come to the end. Up next is the News Bulletin. I'm out.